even when I'm losing, I know it's going to be for the right thing long term. And so all these things that happen in our lives, like I'm still going to win in the end, even if it looks like a loss right now and on the world standards.
Hi, and welcome to the Loan Officer Team Training Podcast. I am so excited today to have my guest, Trevor York from Lynkspot, with us today. Oh, I am so excited to have you here, Trevor. Welcome.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you, Irene.
I'm excited to tell people what you do and how you help loan officers. And I just want to talk about that mostly, but I want to talk about how we met. I was really excited to meet you because I found out that you were a big part of the Forward event. And I mean, that's how we met. But this last year when I went, I remember going up to you. I was so amazed at the way that the event was handled. And I know you had a lot to do with that. And you have processes and systems set up, for the way you do things. And I knew that just by the way everything was happening. And I'll explain that. So you were doing the Forward event with Neil, and I had been there a few times before. But what I really noticed about this last year was how you wowed everybody with the way you did things. From the minute we signed up from the minute we get on the webinar to sign up and we signed up, everything was done in a way that really wowed us. And since I love to wow people and I love training people how to wow people, I was very in tune with what you were doing. And I went up to you and I said, "You are really amazing, Trevor. You have wowed me to no end." And that's what I do. And that's kind of how we met, was me going up to you and saying, "This is amazing. This process has been amazing." And everything from getting text messages to where we go. And I know that's how you do things. That's why I'm bringing it up. And you do it now with your Lynkspot. So tell us about who you are, what you do, and then tell us about Lynkspot, because I'm dying for people to hear about it.
Yeah, I'm Trevor. Who I am and what I do is always hard to answer because I've always done a lot of things. So I'm a loan officer. I've been a loan officer since 2017. In being a loan officer, there was a lot of things that I was doing to market my business, social media being a huge one. And when I implemented that, there was kind of this growth that happened with the social media. The whole goal for me was never to like reach a massive audience. It was to get more people to do mortgages with me. That was the sole intent for me doing all the different forms of marketing that I was doing. Was like, this is my vehicle. I'm choosing loans. I'm in this business. The beautiful thing about loans is that you get to operate it like it is your own business. And so I
Yes.
was building out websites for my business. I was doing social media for my business. And then I kind of accidentally had all these videos start to go viral. And so I was making this for my local kind of sphere and audience to see. They started reaching hundreds, then thousands, then hundreds of thousands, then eventually millions of people, which is still mind blowing to me. Um, and it all opened up all these doors that were never really on the roadmap for me. And one of them was being able to teach people social media. So me and Neil were doing Forward for the last 5 years, teaching loan officers and realtors all over the country how to do social media marketing. And then the other component to that was that when I'm reaching all these people, I'm reaching a lot of people in the industry, and they would go through kind of my process and be like, "Hey, who built your website?" And for me, it was always hard to answer because I built out everything myself, and I had like I had the website built, and then I was using Typeform for quiz functionality, and then I was using MailerLite for the email functions, and I was using Zapier to connect them all, and I had my CRM, and so it worked for me. But every time these big producers would be like, "Man, I need this setup," I'm like, I would be doing you a disservice if I gave you this because there's all these pieces and you need a person to manage it and blah blah blah. And so yeah, a couple of years ago I was talking to a developer who had built out a platform for a completely different space, and I was like, could you build me something like this for loans with all of these things that I need? And then that was what became Lynkspot. And so for the last kind of year and a half, that's been the focus, is building out this platform to help loan officers do something that historically has been incredibly expensive and incredibly hard to do. And we try to make it the exact opposite of that. We try to make it really affordable for everyone, not just these producers that can afford to hire full-time marketing teams and employees, but for the average LO to be able to basically have their own marketing person and all these really good assets. And yeah, so it's been amazing But that first piece you touched on is awesome because that's I think a mutual love that you and I both have is like the emphasis on customer experience, um,
Yes.
which is what I love hearing about what you and your team do is so important because that's a big missing piece in our industry is the importance of customer experience and how that helps you make more money because a lot of people don't tie it to that, right? And
Right.
yeah, I think it's absolutely essential. So I always love hearing your feedback because that's always been huge for me is the customer experience start from start to finish on whatever product we're doing, whether it was when I was doing loans or forward or Linkspot. But yeah, I think for our industry it's huge.
And it doesn't happen without a checklist, without a process, without a system, doing things the same way every time, which is what I'm always talking about, doing things the same way every time. And you do it that way. And now your team at Linkspot does it that way as well, because I am a client of yours with Linkspot and I'm just getting started because it's my own fault that I've been putting things off because of, other things that I've had going on in my life. But now that I've started, I thought, okay, you know how some people, clients, this happens in the mortgage business as mortgage originators a lot, is they delay getting stuff to you, delay it, delay it, delay it, and then they want instant reaction the minute you get it to them, right? After delaying it forever. Well,
Always.
I felt like that's what I was doing yesterday when I got my stuff into Amanda on your team. She got on it like immediately. Not that I expected her to, because I thought I don't want to be one of those people that
Yeah.
delays stuff and then expects instant reaction, but she was amazing. So I can see that that has carried over into Linkspot as well. And I've heard that from so many people that your team is amazing and they take great care of people and they're on it and just responsive and warm and caring. I love that because a lot of times you get these type of websites or these developers or people that are not really into the client experience. They're more into getting it done, but not with a great client experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a missing piece in a lot of things. Like I mean, I was emphasizing how important it is in our industry in the world of mortgage, but it really is across the board. And the companies that do it right, I think there's a mindset shift in this being something that's like a bonus, right? Like I want to close loans. It's just a bonus if the people enjoy the process
Yes.
versus kind of viewing like your customer experience is a form that's your marketing, that's lead gen. If someone has an amazing experience with you, the likelihood that they refer people goes up significantly and the people they refer you are the people you actually want to work with. And
Yes.
there's actually yeah, she's in the mastermind with us, Anna Kara. She's a loan officer in Southern California, amazing producer. And when you talk to her about her business model, what's really cool and which was what it was really eye opening to me is her entire philosophy is that like the client is the client, not the referral partner, not the escrow, no, none of the other people involved in the process. The client comes first, and there's a lot of times we get that wrong. Like we focus on all the referral sources and having realtors, and then we got to make sure we do whatever we can to make them happy. And she kind of swings very far the other way of like, I don't really care about the realtor. The focus is on the client. But the result of that, one, she's a phenomenal producer, but her referral business becomes a lot less cyclical because if realtors slow down, she doesn't feel it because she still has this massive base that grows every single year because she has more clients that become more referral partners that send her more clients that become, and then they're also the exact people you want because if someone enjoys working with you, you probably have something that connects you with that person, right? Some common interest or some theme that made you connect with them. Then when they refer you people, it's people like them, which are going to connect with you as well. And then we all know like the warm referrals are the best ones you can get. They don't shop you, they don't question you. Like those are usually your best clients are the ones that were sent from past clients. And so, anyways, it's yeah, there's this mindset shift of like customer experience isn't something that's just nice to have. It's actually a really important part of growing your business. And with Linkspot, that's kind of the thing that I mean, the two really important things that we pride ourselves on is like the simplicity of our software. It's just the most simple and easy to use tech you can get, and then an unmatched customer experience. And so that's just training our staff, and they all live and breathe this as well, and they're just good people. And yeah, I'm always glad to hear that it comes through because that is something that is incredibly important to us.
It really does. And who you hire is really important, that they're the right match for. I talk about that a lot when I'm coaching loan officers and throughout the training as well, is to have the right fit for what you want in your business.
Yes.
It's really important. And you've got the right fit because I can tell. Just and as a I would say brand new customer,
Yeah.
um, it's amazing, and I love the simplicity of it too. It's so simple to use. And tell us more about what it is. Tell it. Well, first before you go into that, I want to just tell everybody who's listening today that I always call you, Trevor, a word master. You've heard me say that before. Trevor is a word master. He is a packaging and messaging master. That's the way I look at you, Trevor, because I've had that experience with you where you've helped me when I went to Content Day and you helped put my scripting together and the videos together and the welcome video that is going to be on my site as soon as it's put up. That's been sitting there waiting for a long time and I finally got to it. But you put that together. You helped me. I walked in and it was already done. And then I just made a few little tweaks and it was me. But it's like you heard me. You've known me long enough where you knew the way I say things to people. You're very intuitive that way. You pick up on people, how they talk to people and in the words, and then using the right messaging. Messaging and packaging has been my biggest thing to learn this
Yeah.
last year. That has been the hardest thing for me. But
That's really
I'm learning it. I'm learning it. And I've done a lot of education to try to learn how to message and package better. But you were the one, you and Neil both, but you were the one that really helped me to figure out how to say things better in a way that is more clear.
yeah.
I
And
want to thank you for that.
I appreciate you saying that, and I always really appreciate your compliments in that space because that's something that I mean I really enjoy it, and I think the reason I enjoy it so much too isn't because it's necessarily it's not that you're learning something, it's that you're unlearning things
That's
sometimes, right?
it.
And so the way that we talk, the whole goal for me is to make it sound like you. And so it's not necessarily that I'm packaging something better than you would have. I'm packaging it the way that you actually do it. And so a
Yes.
lot of this is like we put on this and it's really really difficult and people don't give themselves enough slack for like it's not an easy thing to like flick a camera on and all of a sudden talk the way we are talking right now. It's easy talking to another person.
Yes.
And I always use this analogy because it seems really simple, but like if it was easy for you to talk to inanimate objects like a camera, that's concerning. Throughout history, if you saw someone talking to like a lamp, you'd be like, something's wrong with that person, right? Like it's not natural. It's not something we're supposed to do. We're supposed to talk to other people. And so if it's like, hey, talk in a conversational way, the way we talk together, but to this thing that there's no heart or soul inside of, it is difficult. And so first thing would be like one giving all of ourselves a little bit of grace with like, okay, we expect ourselves to be really good at doing this, but it does take some practice. And when I say it's about unlearning, a lot of times we do this thing of like, how should, in my case as a loan officer, like how should a loan officer talk? And so for me, there's this kind of longer process of how I learned this. And at the start, I'd put the camera on and I'd have my collared shirt and my combed hair, and I would say, "Hey guys, this is Trevor York with All Western Mortgage," and I'd go into what I believed a loan officer should sound like.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'd watch it, I'd be like, "That's not what I want to hear," but I think that's what a loan officer should sound like. But then when you kind of start simplifying it and you dumb it down, of like, okay, I don't want to watch that. I'll ask my wife, like, would you actually want to watch this? Like, well, not really. And I'm like, does anybody want to watch this? It's like, no. It's like, oh, so then when I talk like me and I simplify things and I break it down, like that's what people actually want. And so there's this unlearning of like what we think people want to hear. And no matter what your profession is, there's this like almost facade that we put on when the camera goes on, where we go into sales mode, and then all of a sudden we can't articulate the things that we do very easily when we talk. And so in your case, it was so fun because one, you're just like amazing to work with because you have like this hunger to actually learn and level up. So it's like the best situation of like, all right, what can we do to improve? But all we were doing was kind of like, I'd let you say the thing, and then we'd kind of make sure, like, okay, so what you're saying is this, like, yes. And then what you're saying is this. And then we were able to map out how you would actually do, a welcome video versus just writing it of like all the technical jargon and the professionalism that we overforce. So yeah, as much as I appreciate the praise of being like a word master, a lot of it was just helping you extract that stuff that was already the way that you do things. I didn't change the words, just helped you kind of get them out, and then yeah, we put them in a place where we deliver it.
And that's what I needed. I needed the extraction because all of this stuff was inside of me and I couldn't get it out. It's like it was stuck, like there was this, I don't know, sludge or something that was I have it all up here and I knew what I needed to say, or not what I needed, the words I needed, but I knew what I felt and I knew how I could help people. But
Yep.
I didn't know how to extract or to get it out. And you were able to extract that out of me, which is very rare because I spent a ton of money on somebody before I met you that it was not worth the money. He was not teaching me how to be me. He was teaching me how to be him.
Yes.
And I feel like that was just a huge waste of money. And I wish I had met you sooner. I would have gladly paid you the money to do it. uh,
Yeah.
but anyway, it's been a really great experience because you helped me during content day. You helped me not just extract the words, but you helped me gain confidence that
Mhm.
yes, Irene, you do have this stuff inside of you. It
Yeah.
isn't your age. It's not because you're getting older or because
Yeah.
of whatever the reason is, that sometimes we go through those things in our head and we have to change that programming that we have.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful that I had you to help extract those things out. And now it's given me confidence that I can do it even more.
Well, and that's kind of what I was saying at the start too, is like step one is we need to give ourselves a little more grace because you do start to make these excuses of like, why is this hard for me? Is it my age? Is it that I don't know how to use tech or I'm not familiar with social? Like, no, it's just hard and that's okay, you know?
Yes.
And so that's where I'm glad you bring that up because that is why I think like step one, be kind to yourself, and we overestimate it, right? Because it's like, I know my business inside and out. And when I talk to you about loan team training, like you know the business inside and out, and you are passionate about what you do. So it's not
Yes.
a problem there. And then you're an incredible communicator. When we talk, you're great at communicating. So then it would only make sense that if I flick a camera on and you have to do two things that you're good at, which is talk about the thing that you're good at. And then we simplify it and then it's like, all right, I'm going to do that, but it's hard. So then we're hard on ourselves because we're like, that shouldn't be hard. It should be easy. And the truth is it's not. But I think one of the biggest tips I could give people on how you can do this on your own, because we had the pleasure of being able to workshop that, and I love doing that because it helps people get out of these ruts. But a really easy way that everybody could do this, and I do this all the time when I'm coaching people on social. Be like, okay, what is the thing you want to talk about? And they're like, FHA loans. It's like, okay, give me the thing. And I'm like, okay, so FHA loans are a government backed product and they're really amazing. And there's a lot of things that go into them and they do the whole thing. And I'm like, okay, so try to summarize that. If you had to summarize what you just said, what would it be? And it'd be like, well, government backed loan program with low down payment for people with bad credit. Like, that's the script.
Mm-hmm.
Just summarize the things. And so that was actually what me and you were doing, was like, tell me about each of these offerings. And you have the different offerings. And I'm like, okay, so who would this be for? And then you'd give the explanation. I'm like, okay, so if we summarize that, like, this is ideal for this person in this state. This is ideal for this person with this pain. And it's like, then there's our thing. So a
Yes.
lot of times, like, that's kind of the process that I do with myself when I don't have someone to collaborate, is just like, can I summarize the thing I'm saying? Because you ideally, especially in the like form of video and social media or even on landing pages, you want to get to a point where you're like, I can no longer summarize that because then everything's missing. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
when you've reached the bottom of what you should be saying.
Yeah, I love that. I love the way you do that. And the collaboration is really important. But like you said, you gave us a blueprint there of how to do it without having somebody to collaborate with.
Yeah.
And the thing to remember too that I had to remind myself is I used to do a lot of video. I just didn't have the confidence anymore because things are so different now. What you say now compared to what you said 15 years ago is
Yeah.
very different.
Yeah.
And I wanted to keep up with the trends. And that's why I'm in the group. And that's why I'm having you do things with me. And that's why, is because things are different. And it can be kind of frustrating when you're used to doing things one way and then you have to unlearn it, like you said, and do it a different way. But
Yeah.
you make it easy because your coaching makes it easy.
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, it's no different than even like cold calling when nobody else was cold calling. Just by doing it, it's going to be effective. But then once that becomes commonplace is when you have to keep growing it. So video, you were doing video before anyone was really doing video.
yeah.
So it worked just because nobody else was doing it. So that was the differentiator. And then it had a ton of momentum. But now that video is becoming more commonplace, now we have to look at the tactics. And same thing with all the other things we do, right? Of like mailers or thank you cards or cold calls of, okay, now cold calling is not enough. You have to have some scripting and you have to ask really good questions and you want leading questions to give answers of the service that you offer. And there's all these little nuances that come in, but at the root of it, you're still doing the thing you've been doing.
Hmm.
So those nuances can start to become overwhelmed to where you second guess and overthink, or they just become something of like baby steps, you know? And I think that's the thing that would be like the piece of advice for people that are feeling that way of like, I'm just intimidated. It's a different animal is take baby steps. It doesn't need to be all of it at once. Like find something you want to improve on that, then find something else. And then all of a sudden in a couple months, you're exactly where you wanted to be.
Are you holding off on training your loan partners, your loan assistants, your team members, and support staff on how to wow your clients? Are they getting that kind of training from you? You probably plan on training them if you get a few extra hours, but when does that happen realistically? And meanwhile, your team is doing the best they can with the information that they have. But this kind of training really doesn't exist anywhere else. When you do the training, that means you're not as responsive as you want to be with your clients and you're not hitting your closing and income goals as a loan officer. So how much is it costing you to not have a team that's properly trained how to wow clients and referral partners so that they only want to work with you because of the great experience that they're getting? We teach them how to use efficient step-by-step processes and systems that work, how to follow up so nothing falls through the cracks and loans close on time and even early, how to build wonderful relationships with clients, how to wow people so they go, man, that was an amazing experience. The members of his or her team are amazing. They're so on it. How to use scripts and dialogues for winning clients, setting expectations, and communicating with clients so that you can prevent problems down the road. How to handle difficult clients, how to make clients feel appreciated and valued, and how to handle and overcome objections. It might be time to ask for some help. That's why we're here. Loan Team Training has our next live WOW training coming up. We train your team for you so you can focus on closing loans. Check it out at loanteamtraining.com for our next class and see how many 5-star reviews we have from past WOW training participants and their loan officers who sent them at loanteamtrainingreviews.com. Remember, it's an interactive virtual training with live trainers, and we train any of your support staff that is communicating with clients and referral partners. Our sessions are 9 to 11:30 Pacific time. Check us out and sign your loan partner or team member up at loanteamtraining.com. The reason I wanted to tell people about what you're so good at is because that's why you have Lynkspot. So tell us about Lynkspot, what it is and who it's for, and how do we use it?
So yeah, I kind of gave that one over example of how it started, and that was just it's all the tech that I needed, and we put it all in one spot. And so it has your website, so the whole front end of what the world sees, and it has quiz functionality, which is like what made Quicken Loans Quicken back in the day, which is still like one of the most effective forms of lead capture, these quizzes. And then it has your CRM on the back end, but it's a really, really simplified one. So it's not the CRM that you're used to that's overwhelmed. I always say it's like it's the CRM for people that hate CRMs. That's what's on the back end. And then we have the email software to make it really easy. So you're kind of capturing these leads. Now you have the email portion to nurture those leads. And then there's a done for you component. So our team, which we talked about, who's incredible, they'll build out anything that you request. So if you wanted to do a webinar and you're like, I need to create a registration page for this webinar, you request it in your portal and then we build it for you. And there's unlimited requests. It's whatever you want. We have a bunch of pre-built funnels too that people can customize and add onto their sites. And that's kind of a really big differentiator for us is that we actually do the work for you. And so that's
Yeah,
that's a really big one.
that's a big deal. That
Yeah.
alone is why people should be with you, because most people don't offer that. They give you the software, but then you have to have somebody to work the software, and that's the biggest obstacle I think there is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Adoption of it's very, very difficult.
give us an example of, I know you said a webinar, like let's say I'm doing a webinar, and what will you do with the webinar? You'll build what? Like, give
So
us.
the webinar, if I was doing a webinar, I would need to drive them to a place for people to sign up. So I would go on social now, talk about it like, hey, next week, if we're doing something for loan team training, I'm going to show you how to scale from doing 12 million a year to 36 million a year with one additional team member. And I'm going to break it down step by step on this webinar. Click this link to sign up.
Hmm.
Now, when they click the link, it goes into the page that we build for you. So it'd be how to scale from 12 to 36 million with one additional team member. And then you can have some other little sub description of we'll show you step by step where it doesn't cost you money, blah, 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 whatever the kick is. And then we get the name and email for them to register for it.
Hmm.
Then on the back end of that, and we build all this out for you, they would get their confirmation email of congratulations, Trevor, you've signed up. Here's the link. Here's the information. And then for webinar specifically, we also do the reminder sequences. So the day before the webinar, hey, Trevor, reminder tomorrow, 10 a.m., how to scale your business 101. And then the following morning, and it's usually our sequence usually goes like 24 hours before morning of. So even if you're doing something at 2 p.m., we'll send it in the morning just because that's when people are in their inboxes. And
Hmm.
it'll be a reminder 1 p.m. today, scale your business with one person. And then we do the starting now, which goes 5 minutes before the thing. Starting now, here's the link, join us. And
That's
so that's kind
great.
of the sequence. We'd build all that out for you. So all you do is request it. All of that stuff is done in the background, and you just get to do your webinar.
That's amazing. And if you're doing an educational seminar in front of real estate agents for loan officers or anything you're doing, right? You'll build something out for them to have that same sequence.
Yeah, we've had people, I mean, like someone was doing a charity golf tournament and we build whatever you ask us to. So we build the page of charity golf tournament, register here. The email confirmation had all this, the agenda for the day that they wanted to know. So literally whatever it is you want. And that's why it's kind of like we're the marketing team that you don't have to pay salaries for.
Yes.
You just tell us what you're doing, we build it for you, and then you get to do what you do best.
And I love all your professional photos that you use. All everything that you do is high quality. That's what I love about it. You're not just hiring somebody to just put something together for you. It's really high quality. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think for me too, because my background, obviously, like I'm a loan officer, so I built this as I would want it as a loan officer. But then I'm also a marketer. Like that's my passion. Like I
Yes.
love marketing. I read marketing books. I follow marketing content. Like that's the thing that I live and breathe. And so that was kind of a huge thing that I realized, which is why I've always built my own website versus using corporate ones, is they're not designed to convert. They're not designed by like digital marketers. A lot of them were designed for just to appeal to loan officers, which our website's not to appeal to us, it's to appeal to customers.
Yes.
And a perfect example of this is like every loan officer website has mortgage calculators on them. I've yet to find a loan officer that is like, man, I love when my clients run their own payments. Yeah, it's on every single mortgage website, right? And we just kind of haven't questioned it. It's always there. So like, yeah, we try to make everything look really clean and professional, but we're also very much like conversion focused on how do we build these with a marketing brain and an LO brain of like what our goal is and how we nurture people to the finish line. And yeah, I think that reflects in all of the design and aesthetic and stuff that we do.
It does. So it's for loan officers specifically. You stayed focused on loan officers. For me, you're making an exception because I just want to work with you so much. You're making an exception. It's not all built out for loan team trainers, right?
Right.
But you're doing it for me, and I appreciate that. You have a couple people that you might do that for, but you're focused on loan officers.
Yeah, and what's amazing is like all of the things we offer, if you are in a business that benefits from people knowing who you are, you would benefit from this. And so whether you have like one of our users' sisters owns a tanning salon, and it's all the same principles, right? Like you need to make people aware you exist. You need to have really clear prompting for them to go to the next step. You need to be able to nurture them with email software. And so it is a software that works for anybody in sales. We have a handful of real estate agents on there. We've niched down very specific to loan officers because I want to be able to give them very tactical things to do within this software. And
Hmm.
so the way we build out the CRM is not hyper generic, it is specific for loan officers. The funnels that we build, and I do coaching calls with our entire community once a month, all of that is focused on loan officers. And so as far as the software itself, it's universal, it's industry agnostic, but the reason we focus so much on LOs is because for me, I don't just want to get a bunch of people on my software and ride off into the sunset. Like I legitimately, the thing that makes me happy is seeing people get wins. And so the way for me to do that is to focus on one specific group and give them the best marketing material they can have, and then that's going
Mhm.
to get them results. And that's the thing that I really want.
I love that so much. So, we're going to shift a little bit into mindset. I always talk about mindset because it's so important. What is something that you do to keep your mindset positive, especially when things go down or go wrong, or maybe things are not working out the way you want to? Everybody has a different way of dealing with that, and I always love to ask that question of successful people.
I love that question. I actually was just talking to my buddy Mo about this last week. I saw him at an event and he's like, "Man, I feel like you're always good. Like you always seem like you're in a good place. Like, and I know that can't be the case, because business is stressful and I own a company and I've switched and I have all these things that go on." And he's like, "But all these stuff, every time I see you, it feels like you're good. Like, how?" And, and so I love this question because I was just telling him, and it's for me, I have a really strong faith. And so when I told him the answer, I was just like, dude, honestly, it's because I can't lose. And he's like kind of staring at me and like, that sounds really egotistical, but I'm like, dude, really, it's like I cannot lose. I'm incapable of losing. And it's because for me, like I, God's plan is a lot bigger than mine. And so I believe that. And so that's why even when I'm losing, I know it's going to be for the right thing long term. And so all these things that happen in our lives, like I'm still going to win in the end, even if it looks like a loss right now and on the world standards. And so, yeah, I think for me, faith is a huge part. And then with that is like just the gratitudes of what we have and just really focusing on those. And so, like, my wife and my family and the things I get to do and the people I get to talk to, like, that's the stuff I'm focusing on. Where a lot of times it gets really easy to fall in that trap of focusing on all the things that are going bad in our lives. And yeah, so it always sounds simple, but those just gratitudes is a huge one.
I love that. Have you been that way since you were a kid, or did you have to learn that as you got older? Of course, we always build on our skills, right?
Yeah.
What comes
Yeah.
naturally to us, we have to still work at it. But
Absolutely.
were you always naturally grateful?
Yeah, I think I was always an optimistic person. So like yeah, definitely the glass half full type of just by nature. And then some of it was just my upbringing. Like I had two siblings who were absolutely phenomenal at everything they did. Like not on a local standard. Like my sister was a phenom athlete, 13 varsity letters, which is crazy because you could only get 12 if you varsity in three sports over 4 years. But she did dance team 1 year while she was also doing like basketball. So she happened to get 13 varsity letters. So incredible athlete. And then straight A student. And then my brother was like, he won a national title in motocross, won a national title in wrestling, got a full ride scholarship for football.
Wow.
So again, not on like a local scale, like he's one of the best in the world at some of these things. And then there was little Trev, the youngest of them, right? I've talked about this a few times, but for me, there was kind of this. I went through this not phase because it was kind of my whole life, but where I felt like everything I did was always letting people down because I was always held to an incredibly high bar. So even if I was the best player on my team, the coaches were expecting me to be one of the best players in the country. And so then it was like, oh yeah, he's good, but he's not as good as we thought. And it's like I'm still, like so I'm just letting people down. I'm like it's impossible to make people happy. So I think that was something that at a young age could have gone either way. I could have either been really resentful and kind of sad and played the victim of living in my siblings' shadows and constantly being measured up against them and that be a bad thing. But for me, I think it was just easier. And I would love to say this was like an intentional mindset shift, but this is when I was really, really young. It just became like the optimistic part of like, it is what it is. And I just became kind of the like happy go, like the third kid that like, I really don't care. I'm not going to be them. And it kind of birthed this thing that I think I've talked to you about, but like I legitimately get excited watching other people win because I kind of
Yes.
had no choice when I was little. And so it turned out to be something that was this incredible gift for me moving forward that I didn't realize was a gift of like, hey, it's kind of rare to get like this excited over someone else doing something good. And I'm like, it kind of was just the lucky hand for me, I guess. And I would love to say it was an intentional shift, but it was just kind of yeah. developed that way from a young age, and now I'm just the optimistic dude who's happy to see other people do good.
I love that. But you know what? We are a product of how we were raised or what we were around, our, our environment and stuff. And that's what you and I have in common is we're both the baby of the family. Yep. There's something about the baby. And I'm going to be posting some content about the oldest, the middle child, the baby. And not only was I the baby, but I was way younger than everyone
Mm,
else. And so we have that in common. And I had 13 brothers and sisters. I don't know if I've ever told you
holy
that.
cow. Yeah.
Yeah, there were 14 of us that my mom, all from my mom, not the same dad, but the same mom
Wow.
for sure. And we never called each other half brothers or half sisters. It's
Yeah.
always brother, sister. It didn't matter. But when my dad met my mom, she had 5 kids at home. So he raised 6 kids pretty much. He fell in love with her and he didn't care how many kids she had or what she had been through before. And she was a phenomenal woman. But you are an environment, you are a product of your environment. And so I had fun watching and learning. I learned a lot of what to do and what not to do from my
Yes.
older brothers and sisters. A lot of good, a lot of very good stuff, but some
Yeah.
things that I didn't want to do also.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is kind of the benefit of being the youngest is equally those things. And I mean, my brother's my hero, and he gave me so many incredible things of what to do. But then there was a lot of things that he got to experience before I did that were not good that I got to learn from.
Yes.
And he kind of took those bullets for both of us, and I got to learn from definitely from his mistakes. And yeah, there's definitely youngest siblings. We're a different breed.
We are.
Imagine the youngest of three is a different breed than the youngest of 14, but I'd like to say we still have something in common there.
Yeah, we do. We do. It's pretty much the same thing, just on a larger scale of more people.
Yes.
That's all. I
Yeah.
got to learn a lot more. Maybe that's why I love to learn so much, is because I've
Yeah.
been observing my whole life.
Yeah.
and
That's
and
really
good
cool.
stuff. I have a brother left and 2 sisters, and all 3 of them are way older than me in great health, like as good health as you can be, and they've taken care of themselves.
Mm,
And so that's my example now to see, to
yeah.
be able to take care. And I've waited a long time to finally take care of myself, but I'm doing it now. So we are a product of our environment. That's why I asked you how it was when you were young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other kind of, I mean, to the original question that prompted this of like, how do you keep that mindset? It's that one of my favorite kind of takes on this was Chris Doe talked about this. And I think he talked about it at last year's Forward event. It was one of the forward things we've been to.
Yes.
Um, but he uses an example, and I love it because it's so easy for everybody to digest. And Chris loves Marvel, so like superhero movies and comic books, right?
Yes.
And so he asks the question of like, when did Spider-Man become Spider-Man? And typically everybody answers like when he got bit by the spider. And he's like, no, that's when he got his power. When he became Spider-Man is when Uncle Ben died, right?
Yes.
And so it's this adversity that you go through, and he draws a parallel in the superhero world of heroes and villains both have an origin story, and that origin story is some sort of trauma. How they take that trauma and use it is the difference of becoming a hero and a villain. And so
Yes.
it's kind of like in my instance of I could become the villain route and become sad and resentful and play the victim, and you same adversity, but it's just how you look at those things. And so I love that example because it's so easy for everybody to understand of like, yeah, you're right. Batman and
Yes.
Iron Man and all these dudes, like they went through something really difficult and they chose the route of like, I'm going to use that as something that makes me stronger, not something that, makes me weaker and bad.
Yeah. I love that so much. And I love that you're aware of it, that you've been aware. I'm sure as an adult, you've been more aware than you were as a kid of
Yeah.
how you are and how you've reacted to. Sometimes other people would think they could never measure up, but you have definitely gone into your own superpower of being able to do what you do. It's amazing. And I'm sure that your team that takes care of your loan customers as well
Mhm.
can feel that coming from you.
Yeah.
And the things that you post, you're such a help to so many people. You're not even aware of the ripple effect that you have on people. It's amazing. It's really
Love that.
amazing. Think about the thousands of loan officers that have heard from you and have heard from Neil at the Forward event. And now you've got your link spot that you're going with and your loan customers, and you're living what you teach. And I love when people do that, when they live what they teach, because it shows authenticity and it shows that they really believe in what they're doing. And it's not just to help other people, but you're helping your own business as well.
Yeah.
And that's what content is, right? It's helping other people, but it also helps your business. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about content marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny though, because on this same thread, that was something that me and Chris, actually, Chris Doe, same guy that we were just talking about,
I love Chris.
me and him had some one-on-one time at one of our masterminds, and he started doing this. It's called purpose mapping, but he was really digging. You know, how Chris loves, like, you go into some,
Yes,
your trauma and your stories, and I'm like, Chris, you keep digging, but there's nothing here. Like, I'm good, man. And it was really interesting because through this there was a lot of like things that I had to come to grips with, and part of this was some of the clarity that I was just sharing with you is this. I got really good at rooting for other people, and that's something that I'm well aware of as like a strength. But the thing that Chris made me realize is that shows up in ways that can be a big weakness for me. And so what you just said is something that I've actually been proactively working on, is that I get so into like rooting for other people, I forget to root for myself. Or I want to help so many other people that I forget to like prioritize helping myself. And so in business, that's why it's so important to me that whatever I'm doing has to be something that benefits the person I'm selling to. Otherwise, like I can't do it. So like even with Linkspot, like I always say, my goal is to make it free for everyone forever. And so like there's this Cole Hatter, it said something years ago of like, if it makes you money, it costs you nothing. And so I really like, if you use Linkspot, it will make you a lot more than it costs you. And then if you're not using it, then I don't want people, on it. Like I'm not that's my goal, is to have that be that constant win. So if you're using it, you're going to make more than it costs you, which then makes it where I could have a business that's making me money with my sole purpose of being able to help more people grow. And so yeah, becoming aware of that is something that I've had to work on, because I would put it on the back burner for a long time of prioritizing myself. And so the business model, while being conscious of it, has gotten to a really cool place where it's like you can do both. You can help these people and it'll help yourself, and it'll only help you if you're helping them, and that becomes just the most beautiful business model ever.
it is. And you just right there in those few words described what I meant when I said you're a word master. Because you know how to put words together in such a clarifying way. It's so clear when you talk. And that's a gift. It's a skill. It's not just a gift, it's a skill because you have to work at it. My husband joked with me years ago and he said, Irene, it's easy for you. You're just so positive all the time. You're happy, you're positive. It's easy for you. And I looked at him straight in the eye and said, no, it is not easy for me. I work at it every single day. Yes, it comes naturally to me. Of course, it's a natural feeling, but I work at it every single day. I work on my self talk. I work on being positive, all of that, just like you do. So whenever I say it's a gift, I don't want people to think that I just think it's a gift and you just have it. You
Yeah,
work
yeah,
at it. It's a skill. You educate yourself. You've done the work to be a master at something like this. And I just appreciate you so much, just that you have that ripple effect. And thank you for sharing that you're always thinking about other people. And sometimes you forget to think about yourself, because I think a lot of people are in that category.
yeah, yeah. It was definitely a hard process to go through with Chris. It pulled a lot of emotions out that I hadn't really dealt with, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is cool when I talk about that, to know that there are other people in that same boat. And a lot of times that's the case, right? Is like whatever your biggest strength is, what is the trade-off? And there's always something, even when it's like, no, there's no way that me being happy that other people are winning could be a negative thing, and then till you find what it is. And
Hmm.
so that is kind of one thing that I like for people to try to be aware of, is like, what is your biggest strength? How's that a weakness? Or vice versa. Like, what's your biggest weakness? How's that a strength? And
Yes.
I think that's completely okay to acknowledge those, because it helps you kind of double down on like, okay, this is what I'm strong at. Now just be aware that it has something that could possibly be a weakness. Just that awareness is going to help you make you better off.
Yes.
And then some of these things, same, just kind of a mindset shift of like, oh, this is something that I'm really weak at, is I can't do sales because I don't like pushing people. Like, okay, well, what's the benefit of that? What's the other side? The strength is like, you don't have that sales breath. That means you're someone who cares about outcomes. So now, instead of being that salesperson that you don't like to be become the salesperson that tries to educate people to get them the bigger advantage because, right? So it's like whatever you think your weakness is, there's something you could lean into that's going to make it a strength. And
Yes.
whatever your strength is, be really careful and just be aware of like there's probably something that could affect you negatively in that.
Yeah. There's two sides to everything, right? Yeah. What can you think of a story like I know I didn't prepare you for this, but I was going to ask you your favorite I got to help these people story, whether it's with loans or whether it's with Linkspot or whatever what it is. Do you have I'm sure you have 100 stories like that. But can you think of one where you helped somebody and you just it was the best feeling in the world?
Yeah, there's, gosh, that's a really good problem is I feel like there are a lot of those.
There are.
One of them, and it's more thematic than a specific example because it was kind of a similar thing that happened a few times, but it was within Forward was when I'm coaching these people that are in mortgage and real estate is when they get to this point where they feel like they have permission to be themselves. And when that clicks is one of my favorite, like that feeling that you're talking about. When
Yes.
someone's like, it's okay for me to take off the suit jacket. Like, yeah, it's okay. And it's weird because it's not even like, well, my boss says it and now I'm conflicting. It's like there's no one telling you you need to. It's okay to take that off and just watch what happens. And a lot of times like the outcome is so cool because one, just that breakthrough when it clicks for them of like, okay, I could, like, for me it was throwing my hat on, like just having that become a part of me and being worried that maybe people aren't going to want to do mortgages with me or they're not going to think I'm professional, and then realizing like, oh no, that's a piece that makes me relatable, and it starts these conversations. And so yeah, that feeling of seeing the click and then also the feedback afterwards of like, man, I just showed up to a realtor meeting in a t-shirt and Jordans because that's something that's like that person was passionate about and it went amazing. I'm doing business with that person. And you're like, those are the things that, yeah, I love that.
That's so great. And you're not only a great business owner and great with your clients, but you're also great as a husband and as a dad. I just love what I see on social media with your young son, and it's so fun to see him and the things that you write about, the lessons that you're teaching people as you're showing him riding his little bike. So tell us about how that they're Strider bikes, right? They're
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, tell us.
Yeah, so that's been funny how many connections that's created for people. But yeah, I mean that's my favorite thing in the world is just being with my family and especially now my little 2-year-old boy, and then I got another one coming in July, so I'll have two boys.
Uh,
But it's just cool because I think, and my wife will laugh at this because it's almost a problem. Is like I always evaluate all these things to look for these like bigger lessons in it, right? So we were just on vacation, and from like the process of getting the rental car, and then when we go to dinner, like what was that workflow like? And then in my head, I'm trying to tie that back to mortgage or to Linkspot of like, okay, how could I really like the way that they did that at this restaurant. What's a way I can incorporate that into my business? And so that's kind of where my brain's always at. And with my son, it's been so cool because the lessons I'm learning from him and from being a new dad are so neat, and it's fun to share those with people because anybody who's had kids can like relate to it. And
yes.
it opens up the door for people to share more about their experience with their kids too. Because when I talk about like, I mean that difference from 18 months to 24 months, it felt like overnight I went from having a little baby to a full blown kid.
Yes.
And I had shared something about that, and then all these parents of like, oh, I'm dropping my kid off at college next week, and it goes fast, and then they start sharing this wisdom, and yeah, so that it's so cool what we could learn from kids, but also what we can learn from each other, and just kind of opening that door to share those experiences with people has been such a neat result of that.
Yeah. It connects people. It's a connection.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you
It,
you talking about working with your son and your husband, and I'm like, man, that's so cool. And I'm picturing my little 2-year-old of like, I wonder when he's older if me and him are going to be able to do something together, and or how I'd
yeah.
support him and whatever it is he chooses, even if it's something completely out of the scope of what I've done. Like, I love that.
And he's going to be learning so much from you. Our youngest, that's the one that I work in the train. He does training with us. And
Mhm.
he's also in the loan business as a loan partner.
Mhm.
And he told us when he was like 11 or 12, maybe 13, I'll never get in mortgages. I'm not going to be a mortgage person. And I said, okay, good. Do whatever you want. He was a phenomenal golfer. And
Mm.
so he said, I'm never going to get in the mortgage business. And now he's in the mortgage business. You never know. They go through different stages, and it's just fun to watch and to share those experiences. If I
Yeah.
were raising my kids all over again, I would do just what you're doing. I would be taking every lesson and sharing it with people about raising kids. I'm still doing it as a grandmother, as a mother. It never stops. You still learn lessons from your adult kids too.
I mean, I'll still call when something goes on at work. I'll call my dad, and I'm like, he was a fireman. He didn't have a business background. He knows nothing about our industry, but there's still that instinct as a kid, and so I know for sure my dad is still learning lessons. I mean, at having a 30-year-old kid, just like,
Yes.
dude, I just got put in this situation, and here's what happened, and it's like, yeah,
And
that's
you know
really,
what? Just like you're learning from your son, you're teaching your parents too. Because
yeah.
I learned so much from my kids, from my grandkids. I learned so much from them, just watching them, seeing how they're handling situations, things that are hard for them that come up, time management issues, things like that. Your dad and mom are learning from you as well. And I'm sure your older brother and sister are also learning from you. So,
It, it's so cool too, because that is, it takes a certain type of person to be okay with learning from people behind you or beneath you.
yes,
And that is one, like if there's a bigger lesson that's tied to business in this, is the mm, producers that I've gotten to work with over the last couple of years. Like some of them are literally top 5 lenders in the entire country, right?
yes,
Leaps and bounds ahead of where I've ever been in the mortgage space, but I'm good at one specific thing. And these people are able to detach the part of like, okay, Trevor hasn't done $1 billion a year in loan volume like this guy I'm coaching, right? Like I've not done a billion in loans. I can't, but I'm still good at this one specific thing that this guy can benefit from. And
yes,
so having that kind of beginner's mindset and being hungry to learn from people regardless of whether they've done more volume than you or whatever the case is, that is the sign of someone that is going to do very well. Like that's something I've noticed where those massive producers do not question the difference of like, well, what was your best year? Because I did a billion, and I'm like, well, I did not do that.
exactly.
And then it's kind of the people near the bottom that have more of that like scarce mindset that are the ones picking that apart. And so, yeah, I think that is the lesson from like the parenting standpoint is like you can learn from your children, and in the real world like you can learn from people behind you, and especially with our industry being on the older end, and when we talk about like digital marketing, like there's a lot of people coming out of high school in college right now that are really really good at that thing, and you can learn from them.
Yes. Yeah, I
But yeah,
agree.
interesting parallel there.
It is. It is. But we learn from everybody, and education is really important. And I just want you to know how much I've learned from you, and I'm continually learning from you. And I appreciate you so much. And thanks for taking your time to be here. So
Yeah.
many people will be able to get a lot of value from what you've shared with us today, because it wasn't just about business, it was about everything in life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that was
Yes.
a really fun talk. That went a lot of directions, and I love the stuff that you were able to pull out of this, Irene. So
Well,
thank you for
thank you. I appreciate you being on here, and I'm just grateful for you. I'm grateful for you in my life. I'm grateful that I found you and that you help so many people and that you're here today. So, time is one of my languages of appreciation. It means a lot to me that you took your time because I know you're busy, but you're never too busy for your friends.
yeah.
And I appreciate that.
The feeling is mutual, Irene. Thank you for having me on here, and you're just someone that you make people's lives better when you enter them, and that's
Thank
definitely been the
you.
case for me. So I appreciate it. It's a mutual feeling.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thank you so much for being here today with us, with Trevor. And you can follow him at Trevor York on Instagram. We're so grateful that you spend time with us. It means a lot to me that you're here listening, and I hope you got great value out of it. If you did, can you do me a favor and make sure you check that mark to follow us? That will really help our podcast to get seen by more people. So enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you the next time.